Following their intense victory at the Tournament of Power, Universe 7 falls back into a short era of peace. With no Frieza to retrieve Broly from planet Vampa, he stays there for the time being. Gohan goes back to Earth to try to fully unlock that transformation he tapped to against Jiren, but he's not managed to fully tap back into the power just yet. Goku and Vegeta still train on Beerus' plan to try to fully surpass Gohan, with Goku aiming to gain full control of Ultra Instinct. During the Tournament of Power, he managed to tap into the complete form of Ultra Instinct just for a few moments at the end, but he's far from obtaining the form as he realizes he can't even use Omen at will yet. Realizing he's been surpassed by both Goku and Gohan once again, Vegeta actually ends up training with Beerus much earlier here than he does in canon, slowly learning how to use the energy of destruction like Toppo did in the tournament. We fast forward a few months as we see Goku and Vegeta sparring on Beerus' planet in Super Saiyan Blue. Goku is currently trying to access Ultra Instinct Omen again, while Vegeta is trying to utilize energy of destruction in battle for the first time. Whis gets a call from Bulma on Earth telling them that Jocko and the Galactic Patrol have come to Earth looking for them, saying that Jocko needs help regathering some inmates that have escaped from the Galactic Patrol prison recently. With Jocko giving them more information on who the escaped prisoners are, they accept, seeing as it could be the best way for them to finally be given the push that they need to fully utilize the abilities that they've come to access. They are both given the Galactic Patrol symbol and are promoted to be temporary Galactic Patrol members. Of course, we still see the same scene with Goku trying to assist Moro, with him being sent back, terrifying him in the process before they finally head out to Namek. They meet Moro, and just like again, they engage with a fight with him, slowly coming to the realization that Moro is stealing their energy. By the time they fully realize what's going on, it's already too late, as they both have been drained of so much energy they can't even transform into mere Super Saiyans. Realizing how much energy the two had, Moro doesn't finish them off right away. He believes that they could be an amazing source of energy in the future. So, with his wish made and having his power regained, Moro leaves the planet. And with no Boo in this timeline, things happen a bit faster for Moro here. The Galactic Prisoner is then ransacked by Moro, releasing a lot more of the prisoners, with 7-3 being his main goal for Moro with his copy abilities. And just like in canon, Goku ends up training with Beerus, unlocking UI Omen and slowly tapping back into MUI. Vegeta, on the other hand, still goes to Yardrat, but he isn't there for long as he still has to work on the control of destruction energy. So he finishes up on Yardrat and immediately heads back to Beerus' planet to train with Beerus for the rest of the time he had in canon. Gohan and the other fighters are all preparing for the arrival of Moro and his goons for a few months. That's when they see a ship enter the atmosphere, signifying his arrival. Just like in canon, everyone separates to fend off enemies in different areas of the planet, and since everyone's so much stronger here, they actually are winning pretty easily until 7-3 hits the field. 7-3 is much stronger than all the other prisoners there, so he's actually a challenge for Piccolo, managing to grab the back of his neck and gaining his abilities. With 7-3 running through most of the Z fighters, Goten and Trunks finally step in, showing us some new flashy team combos, and being careful to not allow 7-3 to gain their abilities. In the middle of the fight, we see Moro show up with Sagenbo, having him jump in, evening out the playing field a bit. The battle heats up a bit more with Trunks and Goten showing off more and more techniques they have in their bags, until Sagenbo is caught by a nasty combo attack from the boys. 7-3 starts to be beaten even easier because the boys are finally done playing around. So Moro gives Sagenbo more and more power to combat them, but of course this doesn't end well for him as he just explodes from the amount of energy he tries to contain. Moro, a bit disappointed, decides for the first time it's time for him to have some fun, as he blitzes the boys, gut-checking both of them before they can even react, knocking them back into the dirt. They get back up, dusting themselves off, looking at Moro for the first time. They shout out a few insults about him looking like a mountain goat before they get into the fighting stances. A bit agitated, Moro tries to blitz them again, but they're both ready for it this time, countering him with two strikes that leaves him a bit shocked at how strong these two kids are. Clashing a bit more, it's obvious that the duo still aren't strong enough to beat him, especially when he started draining their energies. But that doesn't mean they're fighting for no reason. With Gohan watching from the sidelines, he finally believes he's gathered enough information on Moro and his abilities, so he steps in before Moro has the ability to finish the two off. Moro says it's about time he finally stepped up. He was starting to get bored toying with these kids. He knows Gohan is the strongest being on the planet, but for some reason he couldn't drain his energy ever since he and Sagenbo showed up. Gohan says he knows all about his abilities to absorb energy, so he decided to use some magic of his own, seeing he is an apprentice god. That intrigues Moro, as he didn't expect the Earthlings to even know how to use magic. This fight is going to be much more interesting than he thought. Gohan says he might be a human Saiyan hybrid, but he's also 100% him, powering up into his ultimate form, engaging in a fight with Moro. Right off the bat, we see Moro as not having a good time against Gohan. As I said before, Gohan was studying his fighting style ever since he arrived on the battlefield, making this fight look very one-sided. Eventually, Moro is forced into absorbing 7-3, evening out the playing field and even pushing it into a bit of Moro's favor. Goku and Vegeta finally arrive on the battlefield, but before they step in, they see Gohan is losing, but they still know he hasn't broken his limit slip yet, so they wait until they need to step in. Moro manages to copy Gohan's abilities at some point, gaining a much bigger advantage against him, pushing Gohan into using everything he could think of. With his back against the wall, Gohan finally breaks his limits, exploding into the beast form, turning the tides against Moro pretty quickly. Before Moro could even blink, Gohan Kaikai is right in front of him, poking in the gem in his forehead, shattering it, removing his ability to copy from his arsenal just like that. He launches a few strikes so fast it doesn't even look like he's moved. That's when Gohan summons blocks of Kachen around Moro, holding him in place, before lifting him up in the air, blowing him into smithereens, similarly to how Vegeta does the dirty fireworks. With Moro defeated, all the other prisoners were taken back to the Galactic Patrol prison, even with 7-3 surviving due to him having Piccolo's abilities before he was absorbed by Moro, breaking off pieces of him to regenerate later. Maris thanks everyone there before heading off, signifying the end of the Moro arc. Fast forwarding a few months, we see Goku and Gohan sparring. They both finally unlock their new forms and are testing them out against each other. There's still a pretty big gap in power, but Goku is still able to hang with Gohan for a little bit because of the evasiveness of Ultra Instinct. Vegeta knows he could probably contend with Gohan better than Goku can with his new Ultra Ego form, but he most likely gas out before he could beat him since he has to soak up a lot of damage to get stronger. Beerus is even more impressed with Gohan than he was before, saying they need to have the rematch soon. He's itching to test out this new form of his. Gohan smiles, saying once he's finally gained full control over this new form, he's down to fight him again, as it will be a really good test for him. With that said, we head into the Granola arc. Nothing much really changes here besides the fact that Frieza isn't like the overarching villain of the arc anymore. But that doesn't stop Granola from finding out that there are other Saiyans alive that are absurdly strong through an elect, leading to him still making the wish to be the strongest in the universe. With Gohan not really being active in this arc, I'll brush over it, what would happen very briefly. Goku and Vegeta end up on Prunning Cereal, just like in canon, running into Granola. They get beat up a couple of times until Gas is still made the strongest by Elect. This then shifts to Granola fighting Gas and being beaten pretty brutally until Goku saves his life. Goku and Gas are fighting all over the galaxy, teleporting to different planets, with Goku leaving Gas stranded all the way in Timbuktu. Goku gets a flashback from the Scouter, realizing that he has to figure out his own path to Ultra Instinct, just like he did in Gas. Gas returns to the planet with Goku and Vegeta both fighting him at the same time. With Goku and Vegeta having a better grasp on their powers, Granola's blast that he did to try to eliminate Gas before is amped by Vegeta's destruction energy, so Gas is just erased on the spot instead of surviving it like he did in canon, being killed by Black Frieza. With Gas defeated, Granola ends up taking out Elect, but he doesn't kill the other two here, seeing as they aren't threats like Gas and Elect were. With that covered, we head back to Earth, with the Red Ribbon Army being just as active as they were in canon. They have much better data recovered from all the fighters, with Gohan being the main catalyst for the major jump in power in the next arc. Gamma 1 and 2 find Piccolo training with Goten and Trunks, saying that their days of evil will come to an end as they charge at them. The three realize that these guys are actually pretty strong, so they can't afford to hold back here, powering up to their ultimate forms to combat them. With the upgraded data that they got from the Z Fighters, Gamma 1 and 2 are actually just as strong as current Goten and Trunks, if not a bit stronger. With how much the boys have been training, they would force Gohan into using his beast form to beat both of them, as they are both individually rivaling his ultimate form at this point. Similarly to how Cooler knew all of Z Fighters' fighting styles, they are actually being beaten here, even with the help of Piccolo giving them a numbers advantage. They eventually lose to the Gammas and are seemingly killed, or so they thought, as the Gammas leave, heading back to the Red Ribbon Army headquarters, reporting to Magenta about their defeats. Goten, Trunks, and Piccolo wake up a few hours later and recover their strength with senzu beans they had stashed in their wristbands. They discuss about the foes they just encountered, with Piccolo saying that those guys must have been androids from the Red Ribbon Army. After all this time, he's surprised that they still even exist. They go to talk with Gohan about what happened, and he's immediately on high alert hearing this. He thought that they were all dealt with a long time ago, so hearing this brought back some bad memories. They come up with a plan with Goten, Trunks, and Piccolo all infiltrating the Red Ribbon Army using costumes, figuring out all their plans, leading to Piccolo suggesting the usage of Pan as a hostage to draw Gohan. Vegeta thinks it's an amazing idea, with the Gammas and Dr. Hato not really being able to disagree with the actions at this point. So, just like in Canon, they send a video to Gohan with Pan being held as a hostage to lure him there to kill him, not knowing that they're actually just been playing along the part of the plan with the Z Fighters. Gohan shows up and is jumped by both Gammas 1 and 2. That was until Goten and Trunks and Piccolo all revealed themselves, jumping in, making the fight a 2v4, that they were losing horribly to them. Vegeta sees this and decides, yeah nah, execute Order 66, releasing Cell Max into the battlefield, revealing to Gamma 1 and 2 that the Red Ribbon Army were the villains the whole time, shattering their beliefs into pieces. Everyone shifts their attention to Cell Max, with him rampaging through all the fighters, hitting all the attacks, catching them off guard. Gohan powers up into his beast form, drawing a lot of attention to himself, but he's actually able to fight him off very well here. With the increases of strength of every fighter here, that of course means Cell Max's power is buffed out the wazoo. So instead of just one-tapping him, he actually has to fight him with every other fighter here to not get overwhelmed. Goten and Gamma 1 are starting to use combo attacks here a bit, with Gamma 2 and Trunks covering them with blasts to try to create openings for Gohan and Piccolo to land attacks on Cell Max. They manage to chip away a bit at Cell Max until Dr. Hato finally reveals that his weak point is in his head, and if they can destroy his core, they can defeat the monster. Hearing that, they're invigorated with newfound power. They all charge up with all their might, blasting off at Cell. Gohan, Trunks, and Goten all summon blocks of Kantin, with Goten, Trunks, Gamma 1, Gamma 2, and Piccolo bouncing all around the blocks, with Gamma 1 and 2 shooting full power blasts at him constantly to annoy him, and Goten, Trunks, and Piccolo charging up blasts to hit him with. Goten, Trunks, and Piccolo jump into the air, and as soon as they do that, Gohan collapses all the blocks of Kantin around Cell Max, impeding his movements momentarily, as the three blasts at Cell. And then Gohan finally unleashes a full power special beam cannon at its core, destroying it. Cell Max explodes, ending the threat of the Red Ribbon Army in the superhero arc once and for all. Dr. Hato and the Gammas apologize for the problems that they've caused, not realizing that they were completely misguided by the Red Ribbon Army. The group decides not to hold this against them, but they should form their own opinions of people and not blindly follow what others have told them. A few days later, the Gammas and Dr. Hato are all offered positions at Capsule Corp by Bulma to kind of repay the planet back for what they've done. A few weeks later, Goten, Gohan, Trunks, and Piccolo are all training on Earth, when Goku pops in asking if they want to head over to Beerus' planet for a quick battle. They all accept, of course, heading over, ready for the battle of a lifetime. First, Goku fights Goten, being forced into using MUI surprisingly, as Goten is actually almost as strong as Goku is here. Goku still has the advantage with MUI of course, so he still comes out on top. Trunks then fights Vegeta next, and just like Goten, he falls short of being able to beat Vegeta. Next, you have Goku and Vegeta both fighting Gohan like they did on Earth before, and even with their new transformations, Gohan is still comfortably beating both of them at the same time. Beerus and Whis both watched us with great interest, seeing how much all the Saiyans have grown in a short time, believing that Gohan could very well be the next god of destruction, but we both know that he doesn't want to go down that route. They continue chatting until randomly Goten and Trunks and Piccolo jump in, attacking everyone there. Ki blasts are flying everywhere until eventually one hits Beerus right in the face. Enraged, Beerus flies up and punches Goku right in the face, joining the all-out brawl. A few hours later, we see Gohan and Beerus being the last two standing, as they charge up blasts, being stopped by Whis before they can even collide. They both land on the ground with everyone growing a huge smile on their faces, giving a thumbs up to each other. With that, we end this part off here, with everyone having a big brawl at the end. What do you guys think about this what if? As always, remember to like and subscribe, and leave a comment below of your thoughts and ideas for future what ifs. The next what if will be surrounding another forgotten Saiyan from the Saiyan Saga. Catch y'all next time. Peace.